I forget to record.
I didn't record.
Now it's starting. Now I start. I did not that on purpose. I mean,
You did that on purpose.
okay, so Nicola, you will be. It will be only 20 minutes. That's a shame.
So, yes, it works. So I need to change computer. Now I'm on the Mac. I need to go into the Linux section. Allow. Okay, you do see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, now I will change to the virtual machine, so I will not see you. So stop me. I can't see your faces. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So do you see the screen?
Yep. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start. So it will be very fast. Okay. So what do we do in the company I'm working? This is our family company. Basically, it's many years that they build machineries for storage, transportation, cooling of cereals, basically. So what this has to do with computers? Not much. So, but one of our product is this one, you see. This is a sampler. It takes material from a truck.
I don't see your screen. Excuse me. I need to. I don't know why. I see you, but I can't because I need to record. What do
anybody?
I can see Nicolás.
Okay, now it's okay. I can. Okay, now it's.
I can see too. Yeah.
It's okay. Okay. Otherwise, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is this sampler. This take the sample from here and bring it to the office. Okay, inside. In the office inside, usually there is an analysis machine, like you see the big one here, the big white one. And this one, for example, measure humidity, specific weight and temperature, but there are many, many variants of this, okay? So what we do, what I did in the last month, basically, is the box you see on the other side, the gray one, okay? That has a screen on the top. Okay, what does it do? So this thing make an analysis, but then the data are trapped inside the machine and it's not very easy or practical to get them. So, and usually people print the result of the analysis, give it to the transport person who arrived, and et cetera, et cetera. So what we did, what we wanted to make the data alive, so we make this that for the moment is called data streamer. And as you see, this is the graphical user interface, and this is the part that is being made in Cuis. And some other view of the thing. So what does it do?
This question, could you zoom in a little bit? So maybe the screenshots can be...
Let me see. I think I can. Better? More?
Yeah, more.
More, okay.
Yeah, cool, interesting.
Okay, good. So, so what does it do? This take the data from the other machine you saw before and put it in a database substantially, and then it's available on the internet and via SQL. So, another.
Is that a touch screen? Is it touch screen?
Yeah, this is a touch screen. You see, there is no keyboard, no mouse, there is nothing. The only thing you can do is touch, okay?
Cool.
And it's 800 per 580, so it's little. The resolution is very little, very low.
Yeah.
So there's another view. This is the hole I made 2 days ago. It's for the heat to go out. And that's a very important problem, as we will see. These are other holes in the box, the Ethernet, you can see it very well, USB-C and the serial. I prefer to take the data from external machine via serial because in this way, if they don't configure well the machine, it's not my problem, okay? Good, so a view of the inside. So you see there is the screen. The screen has unfortunately 2 plugs. This is very annoying, because it requires me to have this big adapter here,
Mm.
the multiplier for the USB port. Then there is the USB serial adapter here. Then there is a real-time clock here. And you can see on the right, this little circuit is for the PWM to control the fan.
Mm-hmm.
And there are two fans, not one. One is here, and the other one is under the green socket. You don't see it, but it's there. It's just on the top of the processor. And they are really necessary. So what is in Cuis? It's the user interface, as I told you. Is the user interface necessary? Well, no. The fact is that when there will be installation, I don't want to go there to configure this. So I prefer the technician to be able to do it by himself. So I made the interface for that. This is the only reason, actually. So why is it in Cuis? Well, there is no special reason. I wanted to try. I mean, it was half done in Python. It was a bit boring, so I say, let's try it. Let's try it. And then also because these machines are little to run a web browser. So, for example, Firefox or Chrome, etc. So JavaScript, no, in this case, is not great. Then,
That's interesting. Sorry to interrupt you. People used to say that Smalltalk was slow, and now we are in the situation where the standard way of making user interfaces is slower than Smalltalk.
yeah, yes, it is. If I remember well, with the BeagleBone Black, that is machine you see on the right, it was super slow, the web browser, okay? I mean, super slow. Because they eat a lot of memory, and this thing, they don't have so much memory. So no, it was not an option.
Yeah.
And maybe with some other browser, like, I don't know, the one that is inside the Qt, maybe that is small one, so you can do it, but not with Chrome or Firefox. They are too big. At least this is what I tried, that I didn't push much because I saw it was not the way to go. Then, which machine did I use? So the project started with the BeagleBone Black, but then now it is with the BeagleBone White. Why? Because the White has double processor of the other one, and it is faster. It is max speed is 1.5 gigahertz, okay? And the experience on the White is like you're working on a normal computer in Cuis. So it's really good. The problem is that it's hot. It makes a lot of heat. And in fact, you see here why the reason BeagleBone Black is cheaper, is well known, battle tested, is very good. But unfortunately, it is low. It is low for Cuis, for Cuis. For Cuis, it is low. If you connect with Emacs, okay, it's more or less all the same because you don't even see. But with Cuis, you see it because it's all interactive. But the White on the other side is faster, has more onboard memory. But there is this problem on the heat. And the heat means you need to use a fan. The fan makes noise. The noise is annoying. And especially when you need to program 1 meter from it. And then,
but do you use this this hardware to program also, or because you could program the system in your Mac or whatever, and then I don't know.
No, you can't. You will see. I will show you an example shortly why you can't.
Okay.
I mean, you can, but it will play again you very shortly. It's not. You will see. Okay. It's easier to break. So another problem besides the noise is that the fan breaks. Okay, this is an ugly problem, and we don't want to have problem once we install the machine. So I don't know. Maybe at the end I will roll back to the BeagleBone Black because the development is over. But if I go back to the BeagleBone Black, I know that if I need to do remote changes, that will be annoying. at best.
So you just one question. Oh, sorry.
Let me show you what it does, so you see what it does before moving forward. I will do it very fast. As you see, there is a web page here, and now we go to see it. You see it here. Now I go to load the data machine that I have here in my office. Wait a minute.
Okay.
He's moving stuff.
He's moving stuff.
Yeah,
Something is happening.
yeah.
You're
He's
still alive?
putting the last screws, you know.
I hope it worked. Yeah, it worked. You see, the samples, the Cuis, of course.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so you see, this is all real time. It's quick, so it's a bit complex to do all these things. But okay, this is not the matter of our subject today. So let's go to the meat. We want to connect to this machine because we want to see how do I do development on this, okay? So the story is this. I could connect to the machine locally, but this would be a trick because what I want to be able to do is to connect to it with when the machine is at the customer side, okay? So what you will see now is the time it takes for me to talk to London, where is a server, and from the server, I talk back to the machine that is 1 meter to me. Okay, this is the path that is taking. Okay. So let's see. I opened already the VNC connection. Let me check that it's all open. You see there is a lot of stuff. Yeah, the tunnels are all open. So watch this. This is very important. CPU frequency info. To make the machine consume little energy and not heat, now it's running at 400 megahertz. This is slow. For our purposes, this is annoying, okay? So what I do now, and let's hope it works, is I change the speed of the machine to make it faster. I do this, let's see. Okay, now CPU frequency is 1.5 gigs. So let's connect. So I have two connections. One connection is to the real screen, and you will see the surprise now. Yeah, it's big like that in my resolution. Okay, so this is what happened on the real screen. You really, I use it with the mouse, but it's a touch screen. Don't worry, this is a password, but it's not really a password. It's just to prevent unwanted changes. And you see the resolution is also very crappy. Doesn't matter. This is not the way to program. Okay,
Nicola?
Yeah.
You are using the frame buffer version of Cuis? Or you have a X window server on the...
Yeah, there is. The X window is running. Yeah. Allora, so there is one Cuis. This Cuis that you see now is running into X window, and I export X window via VNC using a program called X11 VNC. Okay.
Because you don't need to use the X server on the bigger machine. You can use the Linux frame buffer.
I don't know very well these things.
It will be much faster.
Let me show you the other one.
Okay, just to point on that.
This is low, but this is taking the stuff from the real screen, okay? And this, in Linux, this is annoying. At least this is my experience, this gives problems. But look, I don't develop like that for for, 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 okay, this is the real thing. And this is a virtual screen. It doesn't exist. Maybe this is in the frame buffer. This doesn't correspond to any physical screen. Okay. So let's load some stuff. So now it will take like 30 seconds to load the packages. Of course, to run the main quiz, I made an image, okay? But for development, I prefer to load all the stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And the trick I used here is quite interesting. Actually, in the main quiz running, I load almost all via the image, and I load only my personal code via, like I'm doing now with feature required, like a script, let's say, at boot with a script. Because like this, if I change something now, if I change something now, I can reboot the main quiz and it will load the changes.
Yeah. It's a good idea to start from scratch always. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the only way I think I have a thing under control. Otherwise, with the images, with time, I don't understand what changed. I can't do it. I mean,
Sorry, do you hear me?
okay, so.
Yes, Mariano, we can hear you.
Yes. Can you quickly explain what the project is about? I'm late to the party, sorry.
Sorry, excuse me.
If you can explain quickly what your project is about.
So let me finish now. So then I will recap briefly, okay? Because otherwise,
No problem.
okay. So so let's say this is a quiz. It's running in an ARM machine, and you can see it's a touch screen, and this is a view of the touch screen, okay? But for development, I use a VNC, another connection, which is this, to a non-existent screen, and I do development inside this quiz, okay? So, but the thing I wanted to show you, that's, let me see, find, okay. Let me show you the thing. Okay, let's copy this. Okay, doesn't matter. Let me full screen preferences. So as you've seen, it runs decently. It seems a normal computer.
Yeah.
Of course, there is some lag, but you know, it's remote. You see?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And now here I can develop well because I see things well with a decent resolution. And so coming back to Hernan's question, why you don't develop these on another machine? Because you see, for example, this one, temperature, I have it only in the beagle bone white, for example. There isn't a sensor temperature in the black. So there are some pieces that exist only in this machine. And then there is the PVM control for the fan, which exists only in this machine. So a lot of stuff that doesn't exist in a normal computer.
Okay, cool, understand.
I see. And so, and this is alive. I mean, the two Cuis are running together. I can show you. Let me see. Top. Squeak, squeak. You see at the top the two squeak. They are running together.
So you can improve a little the performance if you don't use a X server, and you can still run Cuis on the frame buffer.
But I need the X server for the thing, not for the touch screen, or not.
For the mouse, I mean, this is just the mouse, right? Because on the frame buffer, you can have the graphics, and you have the mouse pointer.
Actually, I'm not expert on this. I don't know. I can study a bit more.
Yeah, it will save a lot of resources from the small machine.
Frame buffer.
And this is on the virtual machine. There is an option you can run from the frame buffer from the Linux console. You don't need a X server.
But then let me tell you.
This is just some information you can check later.
I wrote it. I can consider it, but there is a problem that all this thing of exporting via VNC, I can do it because I tested many times in the servers.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a minor problem for me, this one, because I have a lot of experience with that. In the frame buffer, I don't know if it's so easy. I don't know, but I can check. Okay, so that's it. I think I would, to respect the time limits. I think.
Yeah, I think yeah. Okay, we'll see if we have question later. That's nice. Thank you, Nicola.
Welcome. Welcome. Let me go back to the main screen. Okay.
And so now Nicola can show us the debugger stuff. So sure. Maybe you can share your screen, I think.
Let me share my screen. Yeah. So the changes I made to the debugger come from kind of missing some of the features I have on the IDE I work daily, which is one of the IDEs from the IntelliJ suite. I don't know if you have used them, but they have some pretty cool features. And I thought, hey, we spend so much time in the debugger, like programming, and we're kind of missing a lot of things that, at least for me, they will make my life much easier. So I give it a try, and I think I get some pretty good things going on. So I started focusing on the. Can you see Cuis, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we
okay,
can.
so I focused on the temporaries panel just to start working on a small thing. And the first thing that I wanted to do, I will use this small example to show the features. I wanted to kind of clean up. What just happened? Okay, I want to kind of clean up this view because I had some ideas for the future. And the first thing I noticed that we don't have is kind of feedback when a variable changes, right? It might be silly, but sometimes I'm in a debugging session and I want to know when things change and when they don't change. So what it is that every time you step or you make you advance one bytecode, I will highlight here the variable that is changed. So right now A is 1 because this is living in a workspace. So if I step over A equals nil here, you will see that the variables highlight, and the same goes for the other ones, right? So once I had that was super useful. I decided to implement another thing here that I really miss from IntelliJ or any of the IDEs, which is having a watch. The idea of a watch, I don't know if you use them. I believe you have experience with that, is that I want to monitor the result of a collaboration, no matter what the active frame is. So let's say I want to keep track of A plus B here, even if I step into the two. So what I can do is right-click, add to watches. Here we have a new watch, A plus B. Evaluation failed because, as you notice, A and B are nil here. So let me restart this. So A is 1, B is 2. Then, as you notice, we also have highlighting here for the watches, and A plus B is equal 3. And if I step into here, you can see that I still see A plus B, right? Let's say that I need to tweak this because it'd be easier for debugging. So I can do right click, I can edit. I also added a shift plus double click to shortcut. And here I can make changes to this expression. So let's say I want to keep track of A plus B times 10 or whatever. And as you can notice, this editor is live updated. So everything I do here, I get immediate feedback on the results panel. Right? This is a kind of a constant in all the work I'm doing. I want immediate feedback all the time. When I edit an expression, when I kind of track a watch here, when a variable changes and I want that highlighted, this is kind of the common thread that all the changes I'm doing share. So there you have it. Of course, once you have this going, then this basic building block, you can start doing things like I can add a watch from a variable. I can duplicate that one. Of course, you can remove that. As you notice, we had a little bit of overlap here with Hilaire, I believe. This is the generic list of more that I developed. This is kind of the third iteration because I've been using this in a couple of prototypes. As you can see, I needed support for kind of having groups inside this. I don't think this is the best UI. I haven't worked on the UI yet. Probably this can go to a separate panel, but for now, this works fine.
Sorry to interrupt, but
yeah.
Nicola, I think we're getting some feedback from you. Maybe if you can mute yourself.
From.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, thank you.
All right. One other thing that I missed is kind of related to watches, but not quite the same, is that I want to pin a variable here. So same behavior, even if I step into another method, I can still see this variable pinned here. This is kind of more, I don't want to say advanced, but more complete than the watches. You can also live evaluate an expression. So let's say you're in a loop and you want to kind of track the value of something that is going on here, and maybe the watch is kind of too tiny, the result, because it's just one line and you want to have more control of what you're doing. You can open a window here. Again, it's the same editor, is live updated, and it works in the same way. You step into, you step over, and it'll get updated. Well, in this case, I run into a bug because each time you step into, you get a new frame. So I'm not supporting that now, but I could do it with something like this. So the idea is that instead of a watch that is just one line, you can have this one or more of these editors open here, and you can experiment with kind of a prototype that you want to try in this context right here. and you can have many of them. So I use them, for instance, to kind of to prototype some code that I probably used to replace something here. But again, I wanted to have something that has immediate feedback. Some suggestion I got from Facu, I don't know if you know him, is that once you're done, it'll be nice to have a button or something to say, hey, okay, replace the original selection with the code I just finished. And you can have many of these windows. And again, if I open another one in another method, then let's say this one, whatever. They are bound to the method they were created from. So even if you step out or you change the frame, then they will keep working. And one last thing, if I'm not missing anything.
One question: what happens if you exit?
Well, let's try it out. They are still alive. I guess they are not being garbage collected. But again, because this is for debugging purposes, I don't think it's that bad. I thought about adding a feature to kind of, once you close the parent debugger, you can choose to close all the kind of child windows that you open.
I was not thinking so much on closing the debugger, but exiting to the sender. I mean, the expressions you evaluate and the variables you watch are valid in a certain context. I understand that if you go deeper in the stack, they are still valid, but if you return,
In this case,
they should not be valid anymore. Yeah, if you exit that, who is self? I mean,
But it's bounded to the to this context. So self is the self of the context.
yeah, but what happens when you exit the context? You return to the sender. The method execution
so
Yes,
ends,
but the
and the
context,
context is not there anymore.
no, the context still exists because you are
Why?
referencing it.
well,
You
I
are-
return and I have the self is still this array, right?
Yeah.
And this context, it should work,
and
is
you-
array do it. I believe this is not getting garbage collected, but I'm pretty sure that I can kind of trust the VM doing this.
I mean, you cannot execute anything from the context, any code, because if you exit the context, you cannot execute code. But the context as it still exists.
Exactly. The context as object is still reference. I don't think you can execute anything in this
It's
context.
like, for example, Juan, if you return a closure from a method,
Mhm.
the context where the closure was instantiated still exists, and you can use it and
Yeah.
reference it.
But that's not what I'm thinking about. I mean, if we enter a method that defines a local variable a and assign something to it, when I exit that method, the object assigned to a may still be alive, but the name a is no longer valid.
No, yeah, it is because if you reference
My
the
claim is
context,
that for debugging purposes, it would be better if that fails. That
okay, you're suggesting to show that as a
Yeah, to tell
that
you,
the
you
context,
cannot inspect this variable because you exit
I see.
its execution and the name is no longer valid.
yeah.
I don't know what IntelliJ does. It should do that, I believe.
Yeah, IntelliJ actually it works. I was about to show that it works a little bit different
No,
because
but sorry to interrupt, but Juan, that's still valid. That's still valid.
I do not
Yeah,
agree
it's
at
still
all.
valid.
No, the declaration scope of the variable is a method. That variable
No, it's
is
the context. It's the context of the method. The
yes,
method,
and the context exited, so the variable is no longer valid.
no, is valid. You can still use it and you can still change it
No,
and
you
everything.
cannot use it.
Yeah, I can. Do you want to bet?
you tell me what to do. I mean, I
Okay,
have
let's write a method. I don't know. Do we have time? I don't know if it makes sense to do it or not. But
I can wrap what I was about to show, and if you
yeah.
want,
Let's
we
do
can
that, and
later.
then we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the idea. Something interesting is that IntelliJ cannot do this because if you declare a watch like this, again, this is a kind of a watch, but you have the full window here. This is bound to the active frame. So let's say that you are debugging this M1 method and you have a watch here. Again, A is not declared, so at this point it's not valid. If I assign something to A, you get 1. And if I now step into, you can see that A is not defined now again. And if I step over here, sorry, you can notice that the watch is 2. So watches in IntelliJ, and at least in the IDEs I've used, are bound to the active frame, whereas in Cuis, they are bound to the context that they were created from. For me, this is much useful than this version, because again, if you want to track this instance variable or temporary variable or whatever across a couple of method calls, it for me is much more useful to have something like this to monitor the changes to this object. And it'll get refreshed even when you step into another methods, not the one that you created this watch from. And actually, I use the debugger to debug the list that is used in the debugger. And in this way, I realized that I was tracking the morph here in a watch, and it wasn't being updated, the position to lay it down like vertically. And I noticed that the submorph list was returned in reverse order, and that's why I had the bug. So it was super useful to have this morph here, and I tracked the position, and I started debugging. And a couple of methods down, I found out that that's the error I had with the algorithm. Okay. What else? Not much more going on here in the variables. I haven't implemented the change variable yet. You can, of course, inspect if you do double click. And what I can show you now is real quick. I first build a prototype to see how hard would it be to build something like this. This is a much more earlier version. And I needed this kind of custom list because what I wanted to do is to be able to do something like view as and choose string, or view as and choose another representation, or probably code your own and kind of show a more kind of cool morph here, more complete than just one line of text. So this is what I have on the roadmap right now. That's why I needed this component. And I guess you asked this earlier, Juan. Yes, I have to add support for kind of morphs with different sizes. That's coming when I implement this feature. So yeah, this is what I've been working on.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Nice.
Very nice stuff. Very interesting and useful.
Okay, so I will stop recording now.
It
Just
would be good to see
to tell you.
what of this
no.
can be brought into the basic quiz image. Right?
Yeah, right now it's just kind of exploring ideas, and the code is not what I would like, but again, I want to kind of test the hypothesis of how hard would it be to build this. And again, I want to kind of go down the path of which features I'm missing from the debugger. I don't want to add a lot of features, just the ones that I need. And again, I'm using the debugger to kind of debug the debugger. That's why